Hi, students. I am your science teacher and your lab professor this semester. And I wanted to give you a little intro to me, intro to the class, and intro to your syllabus. My name is Ms. Hurst. I have been teaching at COC. This is my 6th year. I've been teaching in the Heart District for now 14. I love astronomy. I love space science, and I love teaching. I teach here because I love it, not because I need to. Definitely after I've been teaching all day, I definitely don't need to, but I really enjoy it. So you should have by now been able to log into Canvas. You should see your syllabus there. So I want to walk you through a couple of things, and you can do this at your own pace. So I gave you a little intro here. You can stop this video at any time in order to read any of the information I have for you. Like I said here, the lab is a combination of synchronous and asynchronous. This first week, it is going to be synchronous. As we progress throughout the semester, it will not always be so. But tonight, your first meeting is going to be synchronous throughout and will likely meet the whole time. Remember that this is mirroring and mimicking what would be a 3-hour lab class. So plan on having about 2 to 3 hours of work from this a week, and you should be able to finish it all in that designated time because we would usually be, on campus meeting for that time. So your class meeting would be that time. So I gave you some material requirements here. Go ahead and read through that. I don't need to read it for you, but you do have to have high-speed internet, especially for your first class. You will have to be able to manage the window of mine and your window for your work because you're going to be doing them synchronously. So you will have to be able to manage 2 windows. Doing this on your phone is going to be very challenging. The school has been providing technology. The expectation of doing a course remotely with only your phone is not realistic. So some of you guys may need to rapidly take advantage of the opportunities the school is providing. You do need to have high-speed internet. Again, for obvious reasons, we're doing this course remotely. Internet is the tool. So one has to have that. And I gave you some tips here for how to navigate that with your server or with running a speed test. So I put in some links here for Canvas. Okay, getting into the meat of my course specifically. Going down here to where I gave you some remote learning tips. I've come up with these through a lifetime of being a student myself. I'm a PhD student this fall. I have 2 master's degrees. I've been in school a long time. I have done a lot of learning remotely. I've had to work with a whole group to develop a NASA proposal remotely. So I'm very familiar with the position you're in. So I'm giving these to you as a peer, not just as your professor. So it's really important to establish a routine, and this goes just kind of for life, not just for academia. Think about having regular bedtimes, regular wake times, planning your meals ahead of time. I try and plan my meals on Sunday. This week I didn't, and I'm totally suffering for it. Establishing a quiet place to work. I'm at my kitchen table, which kind of stinks. Hopefully you will not have to be. And I have to share this space with other people in my family. We all do what we can, right? But trying to make things as comfortable and as clutter-free as possible. For me, I can't work if I have clutter in my space. That said, I have clutter in my space right now, and it's totally driving me crazy. Having things that can set the mood for you mentally really do help and establish a safe place in your brain to be able to learn. Mentally separate digital learning from socialization. Try and take time where you're actually talking to people. We've come to kind of rely on like running into our neighbors when we take out our trash cans and having like adult conversations. I think a lot of adults, parents, I guess, we've been around our kids a ton. And I think a lot of us are craving adult interaction. And I teach 7th grade during the day. So my face-to-face, my Zoom to face is with kids. So having socialization face-to-face is important, and it will really help your mental game. It's easy to allow distractions to creep in, especially during boring Zoom meetings. I don't think you'll find my class boring, but try and separate that so you're not distracted. Try not to have socialization time that is filled with just additional screen time. It's really important to get sunlight. Vitamin D is really, really good for you. My house is really dark. It totally takes its toll on me, and I feel like it really affects my mood. I have to make myself like go outside, especially on these hot days. I go outside when, right before the sun sets. But I know it's tough to do when it's 110 degrees. Getting exercise is really important too, whether it's a walk or a run or squats. I make myself do push-ups every time I go to the restroom. Getting the heart rate up can really help your focus. Force yourself to do this at pretty regular intervals. And like I said, socialization, planning screen-free time. You can pause here and read what we'll be doing in class. So generally, the semester is going to consist of some style of warm-up, some lab activities, and you will have one observing project. You should have at this point picked up your lab materials, and you will need some of those to perform some of the labs we're going to be doing. Here I gave you the rundown of our remote learning structure, and that this will be a combo of synchronous and asynchronous. Generally, you can plan on us checking in every week at your scheduled class time. I may run over the lab with you and then turn you loose in order for you to do the lab. So the goal is to stay in sync between your lecture class and this class. I know some of you guys may be in the fast track class, and that's fine. So it may not start until later on. So please take a moment and read through my remote learning structure so you can read a little bit about the class. Collaboration. Collaboration is really important. Whether you are flipping burgers or building spacecraft, you're always going to have to work with other people. Science does not happen in a vacuum. You have to learn to work with others. If we were in the lab, you would be doing all of your labs with partners. We're not in the lab, so you're going to be doing this remotely. And there's a lot of stuff we're going to do where you're going to really need to have additional brain power. So learning your classmates, learning their strengths, weaknesses, learning the people you have stuff in common with can be really fortuitous for you. Choose some functional working groups which may not consist of your best friends. Meet new people. I've had great friendships develop out of my personal lab relationships. I've had students who have developed lifelong friendships. I've had a couple that have gotten married. Meeting people in academia doesn't have to be face-to-face. You can develop great relationships and friendships with people remotely. So during our synchronous time, when I put you guys into breakout rooms, take that time to meet people, share information. Generally, groups of 3 are the best. I do have notes here for how to submit things if you're working in groups. Please make sure you read them. They are very important, because if you fail to do that, I may mark as plagiarism, which will affect your standing with the college. So please make sure you are familiar with that. Tips for remote collaboration. Like I said, you guys will be working in groups. Doing this stuff alone is isolating, and it makes it much harder for you. And my mantra for life is to work smarter, not harder. So I don't care that you just get the right answer. I care that you understand the process. And doing this with people and working through stuff with people will help you to get through the process. And that's what science is. It is a process. It's not just an A to B. It's all the steps you took to get there and then getting back to A and back to B again. It's a cycle. And it's important that we think about learning as being that way. So I want you to invest this time in growing your understanding of the world around you, not just focusing on getting an A. My class is pretty easy to get an A in, but that's not what I care about. I care that you become really curious about astronomy and about space, and you see the relevance in your life. So for collaborating with people, you should create a free Zoom account. You should actually have one of these through the school. Create a Google folder specifically for this class so that you have a digital organization, a digital binder for your work. Weekly, you're going to download the work, put it into that folder, and maintain that level of organization, just like you would if you had a regular binder. You want to be digitally organized as well. Find partners early on, exchange information. Best friends very rarely make the best work partners. In fact, I've seen many friendships that have dissolved very quickly over inequitable working situations or unequal working situations. Establish norms and roles very early and for each person, thinking about how will you handle disagreements? How will you handle disproportionate workloads? Some of you may need to really step up, while others of you will really need to step back to allow others to step up. It's really important to think about being present. Put your phone down, won't kill you. Close your other tabs, close your other windows. Trusting best intentions. When you guys are working together, it's important to not always make assumptions and jump to conclusions that people are out to get you. I know for me, that's one of the ones that I always have to work with or work on for myself. So we all have our own struggles, but consider and reconsider the impact of words and how those can affect people. And honoring the experience of others. Remember, you have no idea what people are coming from or what they're having to deal with. So it's important that we are respectful and honoring of other people. Everyone in the group, when we're doing things that have calculations, which you will, math is the language of science, everyone has to do their own. In the lab, it's very frustrating for me and for group mates in a group of 3 or 4. When one person is sitting there plugging away trying to figure it out, everyone else is sitting there doing nothing. And that one person needs help, but no one wants to do the work. Everyone has to actually do this. You have 4 brains, not 1 brain, or 3 brains, or however many are in your group. Download a scientific calculator app. I'm not sure if you would have gotten one in your lab materials, but you do need to have that. Every person has to do that. Collaboration means that you all communicate and you're working through that process, which leads to something being correct, because that's not my goal. My goal is that you go through that process and that you work together. So my labs will not work in a manner in which you can just divide and conquer. It means you all go through it together. It's not like you take for page 1 and I take page 2. It won't work like that. You will very quickly realize that is the definition of working harder, not smarter. They build upon each other. My labs are like stair steps. So you'll have to learn reasonable ways to do that. Focus on the process of analysis. Use your time together to think about the big picture. What are the implications? What are the applications? What does it mean? What does that lead you to? What other questions does that bring to mind? So the analysis is where that connection and that understanding lie, and that's where your focus should be. That's what I'm really looking at when I'm going through and grading. Everything else is steps to get there. All right, how you submit work. Even if you're collaborating, you have to submit your work individually. So make sure you're reading through this and that you are familiar with how to submit work in my class, when my due dates are, and how you submit. I do have a section here in your syllabus for how to use a scanner app. Some of you guys may be printing out work and submitting your hard copies. I am very particular about how my work has to be submitted because I teach so many classes. I have 2 classes at the college. I have 5 classes at a junior high. So I just simply cannot take the time to go through image after image after image after image for each student. So please make sure you are doing, when you're scanning, that you upload it as 1 document. I will not grade it if it's more than 1. I will kick it back to you and make you fix it. So work smarter, not harder, the first time. You can see here when my due dates are. Please make sure I can read it or I cannot grade it. All calculation answers have to be boxed. You can read here for my, my late work policy and a lovely Yoda quote. You can read here through my extra credit and Canvas discussions. Ways to be successful. Plan to actually work hard. I don't believe that you are born with the amount of intelligence that you have for your whole life. You can increase that. You can grow the gray matter in your brain and increase your synaptic connections. The harder you work, especially through things that are difficult, you actually make yourself smarter. So in this class, let's get smarter together. It's for your own benefit. It's a good thing. You're not where you're going to be forever. You can change that. So it's important to keep up with your lecture class, plan ahead and prioritize. I have a whole section here on submitting your hard copies or your handwritten work into Canvas. So please make sure that you have a scanner app. Get the free one. You don't need a pay one. But again, this needs to be submitted as a PDF and a single a single document. You batch the document. Do not upload JPEGs, which are just images. A lot of the labs end up being like many, many pages. And if I have 50 students that each submit 14 pages, it takes me so long to click through. Please take it easy on me. I like to work smarter, not harder too. So I gave you instructions here for how to do that. I gave you a little blurb here for what to do if you or your family members get COVID. I hope to God that you don't. I have many friends that have. So here is my grading breakdown. It is all completely broken down into your weekly lab work and your observing project. You can see that right here. All right.